operations on Turtle Island, the U.S. is dumping its nuclear waste and poisoning local waters. Shame! In Iraq, Yugoslavia, and Syria, the U.S. used depleted uranium weapons that are still causing birth defects and cancer to this day. Iran does not have a singular nuclear weapon. Iran has demonstrated time and time again its willingness to negotiate and accept international oversight for its civilian nuclear energy program. By comparison, the U.S. has over 3,000 nuclear weapons, enough to destroy all life on Earth hundreds of times over. Israel may have as many as 400 nuclear weapons, nukes it holds in secret and acquires illegally in violation of international law. And yet neither the U.S. nor Israel have faced consequences. The only countries that the UN Security Council sanctions today for its nuclear activity is Iran and North Korea. Two countries who do not start wars around the world, the two countries who are not responsible for the genocide in Gaza, and the two countries that the U.S. has tried to topple again and again for decades. We're not buying the lies. We're not buying the lies from the warmongers in the Trump administration and in the media. The only rogue states in this world are the U.S., Israel, and their allies helping them commit acts of genocide. Where is the International Commission to denuclearize Israel? Where is the International Commission to denuclearize the U.S.? Where are the international sanctions against these rogue state sponsors of terror? We're living in a time where the U.S. and Israel justify their crimes against humanity by invoking law and order, when the law is a tool for a tiny elite to impress and wage war against the entire world, then resistance and revolution becomes everybody's responsibility. The courts and Congress are not our last line of defense. It's you. It's the masses of organized people who really hold the power, and now it is time for our rulers to finally learn that lesson.
And I'm here with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Oh, yes. And we are gathered here this evening to expose a lie. And I'm not talking about some small, harmless lie. No. I'm talking about a lie that could have catastrophic implications for the people of Iran, for the Middle East as a region, and indeed for this whole world. Iran is not a nuclear threat to Israel or to anyone else for that matter, because Iran has no nuclear weapons. I want to remind you all that Iran is a part of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel is not a part of this treaty because Israel's nuclear weapons are secret. We're supposed to pretend like they don't exist. And the United States, that grand example of upright nationhood, the U.S. has over 5,000 operational nuclear weapons in its arsenal right now as we speak. And when I say operational, I'm talking about bombs that are able to be deployed at a moment's notice. And yet somehow we're supposed to believe that Iran is the nuclear aggressor. Do we see the hypocrisy in imperialism? We are being fed a warped version of reality where Iran is the aggressor, but the governments that are making war against Iran are completely innocent. Because somehow Israel is always framed as the victim, even as it carries out a full-blown genocide in Gaza. And this has been said before in our action today. We need to keep saying it. We can never, ever forget that only one country in the history of this earth has actually used a nuclear weapon, and that's the United States of America, that dropped an atomic bomb on civilians in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing over 100,000 people. And so our opposition to this war is also a defense of the people of Iran and their sovereignty. We do not believe that the people of Iran should be sacrificed upon the altar of empire. This is yet another war that stands to rob us, the working people of the United States of America, of resources that we desperately need. Instead of spending $1 trillion every year on death and destruction and endless war, we should be spending that money on education, on healthcare, on housing, things that sustain and develop life instead of death and suffering. And my friends, we should always remember, and we must always understand, that this same U.S. imperialist system that is carrying out this war of aggression, unprovoked aggression against Iran, this is the same system that's carrying out a genocide in Gaza. It's the same system that is tightening the economic screws even more on Cuba and Venezuela. It's the same system that killed 1 million Iraqis after its 2003 invasion. It's the same system that split Korea in half for its own purposes. The same system that occupies and destabilizes Haiti. The same system carrying out immigration raids, terrorizing workplaces and communities all across this country. It's the same system that was built on the genocide of indigenous people and the enslavement of Africans. So we are here to reject the lie and tell the truth that this is a war of aggression and regime change. And if it escalates, it will grow into a larger and more disastrous war, with the ultimate goal of replacing the current Iranian government with a government that is more pliable to the whims of Washington and those jackals up on Wall Street. We must always remember that at the root of every imperialist war is the drive for capital and control. And so we understand today that imperialism is the highest form of capitalism. So if we want to be rid of the imperialist wars once and for all, we have to organize to overturn the capitalist system that's at the root of it all. A struggle for real peace ultimately is a struggle to end capitalism itself. And that is why we will stay in the fight. That's why we will keep the pressure on Donald Trump. We will keep the pressure on apartheid Israel. We will continue to stay in the streets to fight for real peace and say 1, 2, 3, 4. Feed the people, not the war. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feed the people, not the war.
Sisters and brothers, today you have done the right thing. You have decided to take a stand on the right side of history by coming out, by speaking up, by speaking Trump that the people of North America, the people of the United States, categorically reject a U.S. war on Iran. We have listened to many amazing and powerful speakers today, but we are not yet done. Because we have to bring this message to our neighbors, to our co-workers, to our friends, to the tourists in the streets of New York City, to the people and communities and cities and towns all across this country. Because what Donald Trump is doing right now, Donald Trump is sitting inside the so-called Situation Room. He's surrounded by his friends, his so-called friends, his billionaire friends who have a friendship based on the lining of each other's pockets. And they're sitting inside the Situation Room deciding whether or not to drop major bunker busting bombs, 30,000-pound bombs on the people of Iran. They are right now sitting and deciding whether or not to launch a war with the largest and wealthiest and most developed military force in the world against the 90 million people of Iran. They are trying to decide, they are sitting and deciding whether or not to launch a war that could drag not just the 90 million people of Iran, but the entire region and maybe the entire world, very likely the entire world, into a military conflict that will claim the lives of the people of the Middle East, that will claim the lives of everyone across the world, and the working class men and women who would be sent off to fight this billionaire's war. Nobody in the Situation Room, nobody in the White House is coming out into the streets and asking the American people whether this is a decision that they have an opinion on. Nobody is going out to look at the people in our streets who are hungry, the people who need housing, the people who can't afford education, and thinking to consider them in this decision. So we have to be the conscience of the United States. We are going to march now, and we have to bring our message very clear. It has been said before me, and we should say it again. We are the ones who are going to declare what is right and what is wrong. We are the ones who are going to reject this war. We are sending our message to Donald Trump. We are sending our message to the people of Iran. We are sending our message to the people of Gaza who are still being starved and murdered as they try to seek aid. We are sending the message, most importantly, to our friends, to our neighbors, to everyone across this country, and saying that in fact it is up to us. We have to get organized. We have to join the anti-war movement. We have to voice our opinions. And we have to let the world know that Donald Trump does not represent us, that he will have to deal with us if he decides to launch this war. Are you ready to march? Are you ready to march? One more time, are you ready to march? We're going to stay together, we're going to be unified, and we're going to welcome the streets of New York City into our movement, and we are going to very clearly say, hands off Iran! Hands off Iran! Hands off Iran! Thank you.
We want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? We're marching this way! Stay together!
Justice, you say how? Hands off Iran now! Hands off Iran now! Hands off Iran! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!